Gather us in, all Centenary people.
Gather us in and hear this song.
Give us a sense of humor so holy.
Graced with our presence, you just can't go wrong. Gather us in and join in the YouTube.
Gather us in PJs or robe.
This is our way to be all together,
staying at home with the patience of Job.
Gather us in for donuts and coffee.
Drive through the lot to get your church treat.
It can be fun to see other people
while wearing our masks and apart by 6 feet.
Back up.
Soon comes the time we'll gather in person.
With PPE, it sure will be grand.
We look to that day with anticipation to hear the piano and strike up the band. Gather us in, the last verse has started.
Soon we'll be done, don't look so relieved.
Forgive us, we plead, this song we have blemished.
The words we have sung are hard to believe.
Gather us in, it's time now for worship. Gather us in, our God we shall praise. Here we shall sing of love for our neighbor. With peace and justice our voices we raise.
Welcome to our Holy Humor Sunday at Centenary United Methodist Church. Now, this is a Sunday we celebrate every year, almost every year. Last year we took a year off, but this is a day where we think about the joy of Jesus' resurrection. Take some time to laugh at just how ridiculous the world can be sometimes, and really have some fun. And that's our worship today, Holy Humor. So if you're new to Centenary, know that I hope you enjoy today, but it isn't quite like this every Sunday. We'll have some prayers and scripture and a sermon and some music. And at the end of the service, we're going to have communion. And so I invite you to get some kind of carbs to share and some kind of juice, and then you can participate in that at the end of the service. And I want you to know that we do take donuts very seriously here at Centenary. And so we are having a donut drive-thru after the premiere of this worship service. So if you're feeling a little hungry this morning, then I invite you to drive down to 501 South 2nd Street anytime about after 10:30 to 11:30, and we'll have donuts and coffee, and also our advocacy team is handing out a justice devotional for the month of May. And so we invite you to come and join us for that. If you would like more information about our ministry, please head to mankatocentenary.org, and there you can learn about our programs. You can sign up for an e-newsletter, a weekly informational piece, and you can donate to our ministries at the bottom of the page where the donate button is. Reach out to me for questions about membership, ministry, or pastoral care concerns. That's Michelle at mankatocentenary.org. And Lydia at mankatocentenary.org to find out more about our children and youth ministries. And now I invite you to just relax and enjoy the service.
Go. Prayers of compassion. God, thank you for loving us, all of us. Help us to have compassion for ourselves, body and soul, and then also for one another.
Prayers of justice. God, if only the world would act as Jesus showed us, we wouldn't need to pray for justice every week. Help us to be more like Jesus, loving each body with respect and with care. Prayers of worship. God, thank you for the ways we can worship even when we aren't in the same room. Thank you for YouTube, Facebook, Internet, and Zoom.
Prayers of devotion. God, thanks also for these opportunities to be in the same room together. Prayers of comfort for our church community. Prayers of comfort, Leslie Klander, Karen Muser, Bob Bench. Prayers for healing, Del Finch, Jody Egert, Mary Ann Finch, Jean Sproul, and Patrick Anderson, his grandmother, Dean Firmer, Hannah Gibson's brother-in-law, Dennis McMillan, and all of those standing with the COVID diagnosis.
Now let us all join in the familiar words of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Opening prayer. God, it has been a long year. Who knew that a tiny virus could change our lives so much? Who knew that we would spend a year online wearing bits of cloth on our face, glaring at anyone who gets too close to us? Who knew that we would miss actually being in church, in school, at the office altogether? Who knew that we would be so excited to get a shot? Thanks for helping us get through it, God. Now help us get all the ways through the pandemic. We pray for people to get their vaccination, to be patient, and to feel your peace with them. Help us as we start to spend time with other people more, give stamina to the introverts and gentleness to the extroverts. Help us to take care of the pandemic pets we got, and help us to remember how to behave when we are in public. Help us when we just wish it would all go back to the way it was. Help us to get everybody through this, God. Help us as we fight for justice for people of color and the LGBTQ community. Help us as we care for people who are hungry. Help us as we try to make a difference. We ask for patience, God, but we are really done with it. We want to get on with our things. We want to get on with our lives. We want to get on with justice. We want to move ahead without fear. So send us patience if you must. But we prefer that you send an end to this pandemic, an end to injustice, and a new beginning with hope and with joy. Amen.
Someday I would love to own this chunk just to square it off, but...
I was going to say, how's my hair? Not that you can see anything underneath my headphones. Okay, you're ready? Ready.
Do you want me to face the camera, do you think, or do you want it from the side? I was thinking face.
Yeah, face on that one, because I kind of got you from the side on this one then.
Oh, hi, how's it going?
I'm so happy that we have these white masks. I don't know why it's making me so happy.
Me too. They can't
Make it up.
can't see my face. I get mad at Doug when he records me if I'm playing the piano. It's like, keep it away. No zooming in.
Oh, did you make the camera go?
Yep, it's
Still
still rolling. Yep.
Hi, Lori.
I'm trying to connect with my audience.
Shepherd said that they've been on a hillside.
Too hammy, too hokey, no way.
Telling stories just to stay awake.
Mark, aren't you taking your mask off?
Your love is amazing.
I did the wrong words.
You can splice it, right? That's a good first half, and then do the second half again. Whoops. Forgot to play the last thing.
Your love is surprising. I can feel it rising. All the joy. Yeah, start again.
Totally. Let the children every place.
Yeah, we can do that again.
Take 500.
That'd be a no.
Yes. No, but. No? You like the other one better? That's okay. We'll let you choose. I just happened to get that measure in, that's all.
Your love makes me sing.
Here we go. Cool. How you doing?
Pretty good.
It is loud, isn't it? Chris makes me go in the back bedroom downstairs to practice.
Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle. He lives, salvation to impart. You ask me how I know he lives within my heart.
Today's reading comes from Luke chapter 7, verses 18 through 23 and 33 through 35. Messengers from John the Baptist. The disciples of John reported all these things to him. So John summoned 2 of his disciples and sent them to the Lord to ask, "Are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another?" When the men had come to him, they said, "John the Baptist has sent us to ask you, are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another?" Well, Jesus had just then cured many people of diseases, plagues, and evil spirits, and had given sight to many who were blind. And he answered them, "Go and tell John what you have seen and heard. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the poor have good news brought to them. And blessed is anyone who takes no offense at me." For John the Baptist had come eating no bread and drinking no wine, and you say, "He has a demon." And the Son of Man has come eating and drinking, and you say, "Look, a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and a sinner." Nevertheless, wisdom is vindicated by all her children. May God bless our understanding of this reading.
The pandemic has made us very aware of our bodies. We know exactly how far 6 feet is all the way around us now. And these darn masks, we have to wear them all the time. And you know what it's like if you cough or you sneeze in public and you say, no, I don't have it. Unless, of course, you do have it. And have you noticed that noses have become a little obscene? I mean, we're used to seeing people like this now. And so I know when I'm in public, like at the grocery store, and I'll see somebody with the mask, under their nose, and I'll just think, dude, you've had a year to figure this out. Pull that mask up. Well, that's what I think now. Before I got the vaccine, I would think, dude, your mask isn't right. You might kill me. I'm a little more relaxed now that I've had the vaccine. And church has been really tough with the virus. This has been a tough year. We didn't have Holy Humor last year because we just didn't know what was going on and how this was going to happen. But what was really clear is that the coronavirus loves church. It loves church. Because the goal of church, is to get as many people as possible into this room, have us all touching each other. We shake hands at the beginning of the service. We're always touching each other, saying hello. And then we sing a lot, breathing out that air and breathing it in deep. It's crazy. And then, just to top things off, in case we haven't passed enough germs around, by the end of the service, we'd like to take the bread and then dip it into the cup, all of us doing that. The last time we did that this was all happening last year. I was thinking, I don't know if we can do that anymore. The virus loves church. So we have been really, really careful here at Centenary because we don't want you to be on the menu. So we've really been trying to protect you. But this has just been a crazy, crazy year. And one that makes us really aware of our bodies, of other people's bodies, the air that we share together, and how we're touching each other, and how much space we have. Now, did you know that Jesus had a body? Now, we don't discuss it very often, and yet it's actually a heresy to deny that Jesus was human and had a physical body. And the curious thing is Jesus was not uptight about his body at all. This story that we heard read today is, I just think it's really interesting. We've got John the Baptist and Jesus, and the disciples are kind of comparing the two and trying to figure things out. So John the Baptist sends some disciples to Jesus like, is it really you? Because they're surprised. And Jesus says, look, are the blind seeing and the deaf hear, and are people being healed? Is the good news being preached? Yeah, it's me. It's me. But there's this other element where that Jesus points out, where people are like, oh, John's a little weird because, he wears that animal skins for clothes, nothing too fancy there, and he eats locusts and honey. So people are like, well, that's weird. But then they also say, well, Jesus is a little weird and not very holy because he liked to go to parties. Jesus was always at a dinner party. And if the dinner party ran out of wine, he would just make more. And so people called him a drunkard and a glutton. In fact, even after this story, just like right after this story, there's the story of the woman who comes into a dinner party where Jesus is at the dinner party, and she puts very expensive oil on his feet. Now, this is a shocking story for 3 reasons. 1, she touched him. 2, she touched him. And 3, the oil was very expensive. And so people were very upset. But Jesus was like, relax, this is good. This is a good and beautiful thing. Jesus really enjoyed good food and wine and was not freaked out about this woman touching his feet. So it wasn't Jesus who said that we had to be very uncomfortable in our body. It wasn't Jesus who said that we had to be, deny ourselves all the time. And if we enjoyed anything, then we weren't being holy. That idea has emerged over time in history in a variety of ways, but it really came into force in the 1700s in England among white men. This interesting little emergence of kind of asceticism, where English white men in the 1700s got very obsessed with being thin and with not eating very much. And they really said it was fashionable to be thin, and it made you look smarter if you were thin. It made you look more holy if you were thin. And they just became kind of obsessed with this. Now, John Wesley was a white man in England around this time, and he's very much a part of that kind of philosophy. He was always talking about fasting. It's one of the United Methodist spiritual disciplines that I have never really appreciated at all. I mean, I figure you fast from the time you go to sleep until you wake up, right? And that's why we call it break, fast, breakfast. That's what it means. That's enough fasting. I have never really encouraged fasting very well. But John Wesley was a part of this, and his diaries are just full of, I got up early and I did this, and he was just very much an ascetic personality where everything had to be, every conversation that he recorded in his diaries says this was a religious conversation, really. So he was really a part of that culture in the 1700s in England. Now, this fashion of being thin and white eventually moved to the white women. So the English men passed this on to the English women, and then all of that came over to America, where if you were a proper Christian, it was considered that you would be thin, and you would be careful about how you took care of that and how you denied your body. Now, Sabrina Strings has written a really interesting book where she lines up this process, this way that kind of this holy thinness, righteous thinness has emerged in England and the United States over the 18th and 19th centuries with the rising anxiety about the black bodies of slaves that were appearing in culture. They happen at exactly the same time. So black bodies show up, which were shaped differently and had different, just different attributes and different skin color. And people became so anxious about all of that that they tried to differentiate themselves by focusing on being white and thin. And this was then handed down as part of the Christian ideal. A Christian ideal. It has been ingrained in our culture that if you're going to be holy, and if you're going to be spiritual, and if you're going to be proper and righteous, that you're not going to enjoy food very much. And you're going to really be careful about denying yourself a lot of things. Now, I have to say, I have been guilty of that over the years. I totally was brought up that way, totally been soaked in this culture, and I know the United Methodist culture has been trying to teach this for years and years. I remember when Bishop Sally Dick took away the cookies at annual conference and replaced them with carrots. It didn't go over well. So this has been going on a while. But I have a confession to make. I have been here almost 8 years now. And I have to say that the worst idea that I have had in the whole 8 years I've been here is when I said in a sermon that we should not be having donuts after church on Sunday, that we really should be eating something healthier than our donuts after worship. I tell you, pandemonium broke out. I had one very devout man say, I wait all week for my donut, and I want my donut on Sunday morning. And people were just really unhappy about this. And one of the things I was told when I came here was, do not talk about donut holes and do not cut the donuts in half. We don't do any of that. So, I realize our donuts are pretty important. In fact, when we did our building project here at Centenary, we took down the rear dos that was right here where I'm sitting right now. We rearranged the chairs in the sanctuary. That's a big deal. We did all kinds of work out in the kitchen and the commons. The hardest thing in that whole process, the most controversial thing that we did was change the time and the place that we serve donuts. I am not kidding. We had a lot of meetings about that. The donuts are really important. Now, the pandemic is still on. The pandemic is still on, so get your vaccination and wear your mask. Take care of your body. Love your body. Enjoy your body. We're really aware this is the one that we've got, so you may as well live in it and know that God meant for you to live in it and to love it, and that Jesus meant that too. And then I invite you to come down to church after worship today and get a donut, because you know what? After all, they are holy. Amen. Well, Lydia, are we 6 feet apart?
I don't know. I think we are.
If we're too far apart, we'll be off the camera.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Something like
Okay,
this?
yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Jesus invites us to the table. This is a feast. It's a celebration. So go ahead and get your bread and juice, and just pause the worship if you need to. We'll just be here waiting for you. Now, the first thing we do for communion is we say we're sorry. So what do you need to lay down today? Have you been good to your wonderful body? Have you cared for other people's bodies? This is a moment to ask God for forgiveness for all the ways that we have been constrained by shame, bitterness, sorrow, and even our culture.
The next part of the communion prayer is a prayer of thanksgiving. We say thank you to God for the things God has done, for surviving this pandemic, for vaccines, for beginning to gather again, for the opportunity to laugh.
And then we say thank you to God for Jesus, for loving us no matter what, for loving all of us, even the awkward bits. We say thank you to Jesus for inviting us to see everybody as a beloved child of God, and for showing us what that looks like.
Is it time to tell the story yet about Jesus that last night at dinner with friends?
I think it's time. Yeah, Jesus took the bread and he gave thanks for it. And he broke it and he gave it to his friends. And he said, "Take and eat. This is my body. This is given for you." And then when the supper was over, he took the cup and he gave thanks for it and gave it to them to drink. And he said, "This is the cup of the new relationship with God. This is a sign of my love. Take and drink from it. It's for everybody."
And the Spirit?
And then we call the Spirit to be with us in this meal and to bless our meal and to help us know the presence of Jesus, even as we are 6 feet apart and even as we are connected over the internet and the camera today.
This is such a common everyday thing, eating together, yet it is holy too. But today, let's not this holiness mean unhappy. Let's share this meal with joy as if it was the taste of God's love right here. Let God's glory shine in and through all of us today.
Amen.
I should have my toothbrush. Gather us in.
Staying at home with the patience of Job. Soon comes the time we'll gather in person with PPE.
Do that again?
That was rough.
What?
That was rough, I said.
Oh, she's
After
calling
that,
you
I should
again.
just go, what do you think?
A little overzealous.
Gather us in, it's time now for worship. Gather us in, our God we shall praise. Here we shall sing of love for our neighbor. With PPE, it sure will be grand. We look to that day with anticipation to hear the piano and strike up the band. Gather us in, the last verse has started.
We'll try that again.
Be grand. We look to that day with anticipation to hear the piano and strike up the band.
Okay, let's see what that looks like.
lot to get your church treat.
It can be fun to see other people
While wearing our masks and apart by
Okay, we're good. Good idea, Pam. That was a good idea. That was a great shot.
Good.
Okay, I think we're done here. Mark, you are released.
Thank you.
When I say action, start holding up your cups, wave, and so on, and keep going till I say cut, okay? Ready, action.
I drank all my coffee. I don't have one of those fancy coffee cups.
We'll have to get one, Brenda. Brenda, I've got this cup for you. Yeah.
It's a secret society, Brenda. Forgot to tell you.
Okay.
Good to see you. Awesome. Yay.
And
Sorry, Patrick, to do that over again. Okay.